Vinicius to Manchester City for €150 million. Pep Guardiola is preparing the biggest transfer of the year. Xavi returns to top-level football and he's off to England. Liverpool ready to spend $90 million on one centre-back. Carrick's very first signing as United manager. What star are they bringing to Old Trafford? All this and much more in today's video. Drop a like and let's dive into the hottest transfer rumors. Is Liverpool's leadership seriously convinced that trying to offload Ibrahima Konate in January is some kind of masterstroke, rather than just admitting they've completely lost control of the situation? It sounds clever on paper, but in reality it looks utterly ridiculous. The Frenchman has turned down the latest contract extension offer, and now Anfield is panicking about cashing in. Honestly, it's a bizarre move, especially when there's only 6 months left on his deal. According to Team Talk, talks have hit a complete deadlock, and Liverpool are now terrified of letting him walk away for nothing in the summer. Of course, nobody wants to lose an asset for free, but why the sudden rush right in the middle of the season? They brought Konate in from Leipzig for £36 million back in 2021, and clearly the bosses still hope to recover at least something from that investment. But here's the thing, who in their right mind is going to pay a sensible fee in January, knowing he'll cost absolutely nothing in July? Anyone who spends money on him now is basically throwing cash straight into the wind, especially for a player who has visibly regressed. Yes, when he was alongside Virgil van Dijk he looked like an absolute wall, but this season he's been on a really poor run. The fans are absolutely fed up. They were sick of his performances and they were sick of this never-ending contract saga. Bayern Munich and PSG have already started circling, supposedly ready to do a deal this year. With Bayern, it's almost funny. They've got exactly the same problem with Dayot Upamecano, who's also got 6 months left. So they want to swap one problematic French center-back for another? The logic is off the charts. PSG need a center-back too, and Konate fits the profile perfectly. French, homegrown, supposedly top-level. But paying anything meaningful for him right now, when Liverpool are absolutely desperate, feels like charity. Let's be honest, Liverpool have backed themselves into a corner here. Either they sell him for peanuts in January, or they keep an openly unmotivated player until the end of the season. I don't see a single good outcome. At 26, Konate should be hitting his prime, yet instead of playing football, he's basically holding the club to ransom. This transfer is only going to benefit one group of people, his agents. The club is desperately trying to salvage some kind of fee, but it looks like jumping onto the very last train before it leaves the station. I highly doubt he suddenly turns it around in Paris or Munich when he's stopped coping at Liverpool. In the end, this is the classic story of a club being too cute with wages, and now they risk ending up with a hole in defense and a laughable check in their pocket. Compared to how Liverpool used to handle these situations, it feels like a total failure. Looks like we're about to watch yet another good player leave at the wrong time and to the wrong place. What this means for Liverpool's backline long-term is anyone's guess. But right now the whole thing just looks like chaos. €150 million. For a guy who's spent more time lately beefing with his own supporters than actually hurting teams on the pitch. The headline grabs you instantly, doesn't it? But let's be honest, this smells like Manchester City just lighting another bonfire with their oil money at the most inconvenient moment possible. Word is, the citizens are ready to slide Florentino Perez, that mountain of cash, as early as January, while everything in Madrid has gone completely sideways for Vinicius. His own fans booed him. He instantly went full victim mode and announced he doesn't want to play where he's not loved. Strange move, if we're keeping it real, for someone supposedly of his level. Instead of shutting everyone up with his feet, he's trading insults with the stands and crying about life. And for that whole package of drama, City are prepared to drop $150 million? Absolute wind-up money, especially when his contract isn't forever and his market value is clearly sliding south, not north. You can feel the exhaustion in Madrid, can't you? There's a point where the club just gets tired of the endless circus. When you're single-handedly dragging the team through big games, people will forgive the trash talk, the constant ref arguments, all of it. But right now it's different. Vinicius's output has visibly dropped, yet his salary demands for the new deal have only gone up. He wants to be the top earner at the club while no longer being that unplayable dribbler who used to make defenders look silly. Real Madrid passed the point of no return a while ago. For them, cashing in $150 million right now, while someone is still willing to pay it during his dip, would be the smart play. Florentino will take that money with a smile. For City though, this looks like a wildly questionable adventure. How many more divas do they need in that dressing room? Sure, Vinicius Holland on paper looks delicious, but we all pictured that partnership in white, not sky blue. Now the City guys are trying to build it themselves, praying the Brazilian and the Norwegian click perfectly. After what the Sheikhs just put on Mark Guehi's wage packet, Vinicius' financial demands won't scare them one bit. They'll pay whatever whim just to get another marquee name through the doors at the Etihad. But here's the big question mark. Will he actually calm down in England? New country, new league, brutal English defenders breathing down his neck. All fresh challenges, fair enough. But the personality doesn't vanish overnight. Building your attack around a guy who mentally crumbles the moment the crowd turns on him is about as risky as it gets. Everything will be brand new for him in Manchester, and expecting him to suddenly become the model professional in Pep's system feels, let's call it optimistic. City and Vinicius is a fascinating little science project we'll all watch from the sofa, but it reeks far more of overpaying for the brand than smart squad building. If they actually pull this off in January, it'll go down as one of the most bizarre decisions the club's hierarchy has made in years. Looks like they genuinely don't know what to do with all those extra millions if they're willing to bet them on a player with this much baggage and clearly declining numbers. And you know what's even weirder than this whole transfer? The fact you've sat here listening to me rant this long, you're obviously into it, yet the subscribe button is still untouched. City can't find a place for their hundreds of millions, and you can't find the cursor? Come on, mate. Let me make it easy. Just move it over to subscribe. That'll be the most logical decision anyone makes today, unlike whatever Pep is cooking up right now. Liverpool really need to sort out their center-back situation urgently because Virgil van Dijk's time at the absolute elite level is slowly coming to an end. Yes, the captain has extended until 2027, but come July he turns 35, and you just can't keep banking on him as the everlasting leader anymore. On top of that, the whole Ibrahima Konate situation is making the board properly nervous. The Frenchman has only 6 months left on his deal, and there's zero clarity about what happens next. In that context, Mickey van de Ven from Tottenham honestly looks like the only logical candidate who can lock down that position for years to come. Arne Slot desperately needs a defender who can hold a high line and cover massive spaces behind when the team plays open, attacking football. And Van de Ven, in that specific role, is genuinely one of the very best in the Premier League right now. His outright ridiculous speed lets him fly into last-ditch tackles in situations where most center-backs have already switched off and given up on the play. That ability is absolutely vital for the way Liverpool set up these days, where the fullbacks bomb forward so often and leave the two center-backs exposed one-on-one against quick opposition forwards. Mickey just fits this system like he was made for it. He's not just rapid, he's physically immense, wins his duels brutally, and he's so composed when playing out from the back under pressure. This season his numbers are frankly absurd for a center half. 6 goals and 1 assist in 29 appearances. That tells you he's not only solid at his own end, he's a genuine threat at set pieces too. For a Liverpool side that has always loved center backs who chip in with goals, that's a massive bonus. According to Team Talk, the club are prepared to pay around 90 million euros for the Dutchman. It's a scary number, no doubt, but for a player who is already fully adapted to the Premier League and only just hitting his prime at 24 years old, it feels like a calculated risk worth taking. Right now, Tottenham, under Thomas Frank, are going through a pretty rough patch, and this is the perfect moment to prize away a key asset from a direct rival. Sure, Spurs are trying everything to keep him. They've offered a new contract that would double his wages to £180,000 a week. But from what's being reported, the player himself is genuinely open to the move to Anfield. His current deal runs until 2029, so dealing with Vinai van Kachem will be exhausting, but Liverpool are absolutely determined. He already plays alongside Virgil for the Netherlands, so there won't be any lengthy bedding-in period. Van de Ven isn't just a for-the-future signing, he's ready to be the bedrock of Slot's defense right now, bringing power, class, and that extra bit of swagger. If the club can get this deal done, they'll have their new defensive leader for the next 7 years. It's the most reliable, headache-free option that removes all the worry about life after Van Dijk. Mickey has already proved he can handle the intensity of English football week in, week out, and his arrival would be a colossal upgrade for a team that wants to challenge for the title. With all the uncertainty around Konate, this transfer feels like the only genuine way to keep real stability at the back. The club know they'll have to overpay whoever they go for anyway, so why not pay it for a proven Premier League warrior instead of gambling again on someone from France or Portugal? Van de Ven is quality, guaranteed here and now. Manchester United have been suffering for seasons now because the midfield simply has no clear structure. Bringing in Ruben Neves feels exactly like the move. That would finally put some proper order in that defensive midfield area and give the transitions from back to front some actual meaning, some real purpose. The The biggest issue for the Red Devils right now is that they don't have a single player who can break up play properly and, at the same time, dictate the tempo through possession. Manuel Ugarte, the guy everyone pinned such huge hopes on, he only manages that role in flashes. The Uruguayan is excellent when it comes to aggressive pressing and winning the ball back, but in terms of creativity and progressing the ball forward, he looks seriously limited. And in the high-speed world of the Premier League, that becomes a critical weakness. That's exactly why talk of him possibly leaving for Galatasaray as early as this winter feels completely logical, doesn't it? Selling Ugarte wouldn't just clear a spot in the squad, it would fully fund the move for the Portuguese midfielder who stylistically fits this team so much better. Ruben Neves, at 28 years old, is right in his prime, and his many years at Wolves mean he requires absolutely zero adjustment time for the Premier League. Neves is all about football intelligence and control. Even in the less intense Saudi league with Al Hilal, he's shown he never drops his concentration and keeps performing at a genuine top level. His numbers over there are seriously impressive. 17 goals and 28 assists in more than 100 appearances. That tells you he's still absolutely lethal when he gets into the opposition half. For United, he'd be a rock-solid foundation, a player who anchors that zone for the long term and becomes the proper link between the lines. 23 million euros, the fee Al Hilal are asking, honestly feels almost laughable by today's standards, especially when you think about how much United have overpaid for questionable characters in recent years. That low price is only possible because the final 6 months of his contract have started ticking down, and the Saudi club know this is their last realistic chance to get decent money for him. Ruben would slot perfectly into any system, whether that's alongside another holding midfielder or as a lone destroyer. He knows how to control the rhythm of a game, something the current squad is desperately missing. According to Fichajes, United's offer of 23 million is already on the table, and it's extremely close to what the Saudi side want. If this deal goes through, United get a leader who can protect the back line and still fire pinpoint 40 to 50-yard diagonals. Unlike Ugarte, the Portuguese has no fear taking responsibility in transitions, and he's got an absolute rocket of a long-range shot. This move would be the logical end to the long search for a truly versatile midfielder, someone who can win the ball back brutally and then start attacks with real quality. Right now, the club desperately needs stability in the middle of the park if they want to challenge for the top places again, and Neves honestly looks like the safest bet currently on the shelf. It's a proper upgrade, one that would finally let the team play in a more balanced, more predictable way, and I mean that in the best possible sense. Manchester United and Tottenham are both going through the same quiet identity crisis right now. No clear footballing philosophy, no real structure at board level, just years of drifting. And the name that keeps coming up as the man who could actually fix it is Xavi. He's been out of work since leaving Barcelona, but make no mistake, his stock in Europe is still sky high. According to Fichajes, Premier League clubs have already started making direct inquiries. Xavi isn't rushing anywhere. He knows the next move pretty much decides whether he stays an elite-level manager or not. Quick pause, guys. If you're enjoying this one, just hit the like button, or the dislike if you're not feeling it. Any reaction honestly helps the channel a lot. Thank you. Seriously, I appreciate every single one of you. Back to it. Old Trafford is a vacuum right now after Ruben Amorim got sacked. Michael Carrick is holding the wheel for the moment, and fair play to him, he's doing a decent job. He already left a good impression back in 2021 when he steadied things after Solskjaer left. But the United board don't see him as the long-term answer. They want someone with a proper, rigid philosophy, someone who can build a whole system from the ground up. That's exactly where Xavi enters the frame as the ideal candidate. The guy imposes structure, coherence, identity, everything United have been missing for years. In England, they still respect his authority and his methodology massively. He feels like the kind of foundational appointment that could finally reset a project that's been painfully searching for itself forever. Xavi could genuinely be the concrete base around which they build the next proper Manchester United. The situation at Tottenham is almost identical. Thomas Frank's results aren't inspiring anyone, the doubts are growing by the week, and the Spurs hierarchy are already openly discussing alternatives. They need someone who's brilliant with young players and can put together a sustainable mid to long-term project. Well, Xavi literally just did that at Barcelona. Everyone saw it. Give him time and room to work, and he establishes himself in the dugout for a long era. Of course, there's risk. He has zero Premier League experience. But in North London, they believe a bold swing like this could drag the club back into proper contention and give the fans something to believe in again. People close to Xavi keep saying the same thing. Money isn't the main driver. He wants a clear sporting project and total backing from the board. United can offer historic reconstruction on a gigantic scale and attention like nowhere else. Tottenham can offer a calmer environment to grow something. Either way, Xavi isn't jumping at the first offer. He's waiting for the perfect fit, proper institutional stability, basically carte blanche and patience. Give him that and you'll see a genuine transformation. Don't give him that and English football will just chew him up and spit him out because it's impatient as hell. Right now, it's serious interest, nothing more. But both English giants are determined. United and Tottenham are looking for a leader, and Xavi is comfortably one of the most attractive names on the market. He knows the pressure in England would be absolutely brutal, but the financial power and the global reach of the league clearly appeal to him. It all comes down to which club, if any, is ready to give him the guarantees he's asking for. He's in demand, no question, but his decision will be ice-cold calculated. He has no interest in being a short-term sticking plaster. Xavi wants a project where he can dictate the style of play. He wants a project with genuine long-term vision. The Premier League tends to change manager instead of changing structure. With Xavi, that approach might not work. Give him full trust and time, and we'll see a completely different version of him. That's where we are.